If you've ever felt a woman look at you like she's curious, cautious, and quietly measuring you at the same time, this message is for you. Because when a woman is into an older man, she doesn't chase him, she tests him. And most men fail without even realizing the exam has started. I'm speaking to you as a psychologist, but also as a woman who understands the silent negotiations happening beneath attraction. When a younger woman is drawn to an older man, it's rarely about money or status the way the internet reduces it. It's about safety, grounding, and emotional gravity. But here's the part no one tells you. Before she lets herself want you, she needs proof that your strength is real, not performative. So, the first test always comes disguised as something small. A comment that challenges you, a subtle disagreement, a moment where she doesn't fully approve of your choice. She's watching your nervous system, not your words. She wants to see if your masculinity collapses under mild pressure or stays relaxed and self-contained. Older men who still crave validation rush to explain, justify, or correct her. And in that moment, attraction quietly leaks out of the room. When she's into you, she may question your past, your habits, even your opinions, not aggressively, but curiously. This is not disrespect. This is assessment. She is asking herself, is this man emotionally ahead of me or just older than me? There is a difference, and women can feel it instantly. The man who gets defensive reveals insecurity. The man who listens, pauses, and responds calmly signals leadership. Another version of the test shows up as inconsistency. One day, she's warm, engaged, leaning in. The next day, she's distant, slower to reply, harder to read. This isn't manipulation, it's calibration. She's checking whether your mood depends on her behavior. If your energy crashes because she pulled back, you fail. If you remain steady, focused, and grounded in your own life, her respect deepens. Here's the psychological truth most men miss. Women are not attracted to age. They're attracted to emotional containment. An older man who still reacts impulsively, seeks reassurance, or tries to impress feels unsafe. No matter how successful he is, a man who is calm, clear, and unbothered by subtle tests feels rare. Sometimes she'll test you by mentioning another man, not to make you jealous, but to observe whether you feel threatened. Confidence isn't loud. It doesn't compete. It doesn't interrogate. It simply exists. When you don't bite, when you don't tense up, she feels your internal stability, and her attraction shifts from curiosity to desire. The most powerful test she uses on an older man is silence, not anger, not drama. Silence. She pulls back just enough to see what rises inside you when she's no longer filling the space. This is where psychology becomes brutally honest. A woman who is into you wants to know whether your sense of self collapses without her attention or whether it remains intact. Older men who have not done the inner work panic here. They overextend. They seek reassurance. They subtly ask for confirmation that they still matter. And without realizing it, they hand her the answer she was hoping not to find. When a woman is drawn to an older man, she is often navigating a quiet fear of imbalance. She wonders if she'll be controlled, dismissed, or emotionally outpaced. So, she tests your response to distance. Do you become anxious or do you remain composed, engaged in your own mission, unaffected by temporary uncertainty? Emotional maturity isn't about indifference, it's about stability. Another test appears as vulnerability bait. She may share a personal insecurity, a past mistake, or a moment of emotional weakness. She is watching closely to see if you use this information to position yourself as superior, wiser, or more experienced. Many older men fail here by turning her openness into a lecture. They correct instead of connect. But the man who passes understands that leadership isn't demonstrated through dominance. It's demonstrated through presence. He listens. He doesn't rush to fix. He allows her to feel seen without being minimized. Sometimes she tests your boundaries by crossing a small one, showing up late, changing plans last minute, making a casual request that inconveniences you. This is not entitlement, it's evaluation. She wants to know if you have a spine or if you'll quietly sacrifice your needs to keep her interest. A man who resents silently fails just as badly as the man who explodes. The one who passes responds calmly, honestly, and without apology. That doesn't work for me, said with ease. Signals strength more clearly than any display of authority. Here's the deeper layer most men never consider. When a woman is into an older man, she is subconsciously testing whether he has resolved his need to prove himself. Older men who still seek admiration feel unpredictable. They need outcomes. They need approval. That need creates pressure, and pressure kills attraction. The man who no longer performs, who simply is, becomes magnetic. She may even test you by challenging your values, questioning your views on relationships, commitment, or independence. Not to debate, but to see whether your beliefs are rooted or borrowed. Do you fold to stay liked, or do you hold your ground without hostility? Women are drawn to men whose internal compass doesn't shake under gentle resistance. There is a moment, quiet, almost invisible, when her testing shifts into something deeper. It's the moment she stops measuring you against other men and starts measuring herself against you. This is where attraction becomes dangerous. If you don't understand what's happening, because now she's no longer asking, is he stable? She's asking, do I rise in his presence? At this stage, her tests become more personal. She may challenge your lifestyle, your routines, the way you prioritize your time, not to change you, but to see if you change for her. This is where many older men make a critical mistake. They adjust too quickly. They rearrange their world to accommodate her comfort, and in doing so, they unknowingly signal that their life was flexible because it lacked structure. Women are drawn to men who invite them into a life, not men who abandon it. Another test appears as emotional contrast. She may be playful one moment, serious the next, warm then withdrawn. This isn't instability, it's curiosity. She's exploring whether you chase emotional highs or remain grounded through fluctuations. The man who reacts emotionally to every shift feels exhausting. The man who stays calm, amused, and emotionally present feels rare. Here's a truth few men are prepared to hear. When a woman is into an older man, she is watching whether his wisdom is integrated or just remembered. Many men know the right things to say. Fewer men embody them. She can feel the difference between rehearsed confidence and lived self-rust. One feels hollow, the other feels solid. She may test you by disagreeing publicly or lightly teasing you in front of others. Not to undermine you, but to see if your confidence depends on external validation. Men who need to win every interaction reveal fragility. The man who smiles, lets it pass, or responds playfully shows self-possession. That self-possession is deeply attractive. There is also the intimacy test. She may open the door emotionally before she opens it physically. She wants to see if you can handle closeness without rushing to consume it. Older men who push for intimacy too soon communicate scarcity as if time is running out. But the man who allows intimacy to unfold naturally signals abundance. Psychologically, what she is searching for is alignment, not control, not authority. Alignment between your words, your actions, and your emotional tone. When those three match, her nervous system relaxes. When they don't, attraction stalls. Understand this. Her tests are not about catching you doing something wrong. They're about discovering whether being with you would feel expansive or constricting. A woman stays where she can breathe, where she feels guided, not managed. And when she senses that in you, the testing fades because the answer has already been given. By the time the testing stops, something important has already happened. She has decided whether you are a man she can lean into or a man she must protect herself from. Most men never realize when this decision is made because it happens silently long before commitment or distance is discussed. And the final test is always the same. Even though it wears many disguises, she tests whether you need her. This test appears when she offers you less than before. Less attention, less reassurance, less availability, not to punish you, but to see if your sense of direction remains intact. A man who needs a woman to feel complete becomes emotionally heavy. A man who chooses her while remaining whole becomes deeply attractive. Need creates pressure. Choice creates desire. At this stage, she may reveal uncertainty. She might say she's not sure what she wants. She may hesitate, pull back slightly, or question the future. This is not rejection. This is risk assessment. She is asking herself whether being with you would strengthen her life or destabilize it. The man who reacts with fear, urgency, or persuasion confirms her concern. The man who stays calm, open, and self-assured communicates trust without force. Here's the paradox most men struggle with. The more relaxed you bar about outcomes, the safer she feels choosing you. Women sense emotional attachment before men speak it. If your peace depends on her decision, she feels responsible for your stability. And that responsibility kills attraction. An older man who passes this test does something simple but rare. He remains emotionally available without becoming emotionally dependent. He expresses interest without attachment to control. He allows her space without withdrawing warmth. This balance tells her that his strength isn't situational, it's internal. And when she feels that, something shifts. The testing dissolves. The curiosity becomes trust. The guardedness becomes softness. Not because you impressed her, but because you didn't need to. As a psychologist, I can tell you this. Women don't fall for perfection. They fall for grounded presence. For men whose emotional center doesn't move every time the environment changes. Age only amplifies this truth. If you are older but ungrounded, the contrast repels. If you are older and centered, the contrast attracts. So here's the question I want you to answer honestly, not to me, but to yourself. And then in the comments, if the woman you're thinking about pulled back tomorrow, would you still feel calm, focused, and whole? If this video resonated with you, write your answer in the comments. Like the video if it challenged you. Subscribe if you want more truths most men never